What's up guys, it's Cobalt here and welcome back to another video. You probably noticed I've been on a little bit of a roll with my uploads recently just because I want to clear out all of the old footage that I have, and there's quite a bit. Speaking of which, today's video is actually filmed all the way back in August, excluding obviously the intro and the outro that I'm doing here, but I figured it was finally time to post my updated room tour video. Last time I did a tour of the space was in 2020, so obviously same space, pretty much still has the same furniture, but the way that my room looks has changed a lot. Basically a couple summers ago I decided, you know what, this is my room, I'm allowed to do whatever I want with it, so I'm gonna go full on maximalist and just cover everything that I possibly can, and that's exactly what I did. But obviously I don't live there anymore. This is back in my parents' house. I have officially moved into my first ever apartment, which is where I am now. Honestly, it's kind of set up so that at least the background here in my videos looks exactly the same, but the space here is quite different, and in the future I will do a room tour of the space as well. But for now I just wanted to take the time to, you know, memorialize my room, because I've never really had like my childhood bedroom. I've only lived in the room that you're about to see for 8 years, which, you know, that's a lot, but this space is very important to me, so I'm glad that I can save this as a video for myself, but also have people who would enjoy watching this, because personally I really like watching room tour videos. I feel like you can learn a lot about a person by seeing their room and the space that they live in. But yeah, anyways, enough rambling out of the way, let's get right on into the video. Alright, so here's where we will be starting off with my doors. This is the first thing from the front of my room basically, and I'll just be working my way around that way. But starting off up in this corner, obviously I've got to have this bag of ketchup chips here on the wall. You're also going to see quite a lot of these Spider-Verse posters and these Stranger Things ones, for example. Those are from calendars, so it's a great way to, you know, reuse a cool calendar that you've gotten if you want to turn them into posters. I also have this Spider-Man comic here, along with my Extraordinary Magic prints from Hello Studios. Obviously, gotta represent my boy Spine. He's the character that I voice in the show, and I just love this little print that Autumn made so much. I also have these weird little LPS related trinkets and some little babies, I guess. And I have this cool little name tag and some LPS stickers. And then on the top of my door, I just have this random like zombie caution tape that I got at the dollar store a couple Halloweens ago. And then right here, I have a little shrine dedicated to the Adventure Zone, which is a Dungeons and Dragons podcast, but also more recently it has become a graphic novel series. And so all these trading cards here are from the Barnes & Noble exclusive graphic novels. And there's also some artwork that I made along with some other stickers. This is a very, very old drawing, but it's still up here. And these other little things up top are little freebies that I've gotten from pre-orders, and that kind of continues over here with just a couple other like random Taz related things. And then I have this little Hollow Knight print that a friend of mine from high school got me for my birthday a while ago. And then we have the first really big poster, which is this Stranger Things season 3 poster. I really like this poster because I feel like it's really unique compared to all the other Stranger Things memorabilia that I have. I also of course cannot forget to mention these little Coco stickers right here. If you're unfamiliar, that is my cat. Then below the Stranger Things poster I also have a Ghostbusters Afterlife poster. I'm not like a huge fan of this movie or anything, but I got this for free and it fills the space well. And then I've got a little LPS Con poster down here. I could probably fill in this space, but I don't really know what else to put there yet. And then coming around the corner, I have even more posters. Once again, these are from calendars. So I got a couple Stranger Things ones, and then this is from a Spider-Man Far From Home calendar that I got. Here's another movie poster from when I saw Rise of Skywalker. Awful movie, but really cool poster. And then above that is a Voltron poster from the Barnes & Noble exclusive of one of the Voltron graphic novels that they used to print. And this are probably the oldest art pieces you will see in my room, but it's Lance and Keith from Voltron as well. This other artwork here is pretty old, but these are some of my OCs. And then some stickers, and we got a Tiki sticker, look at that, gotta represent. Here are some other little things like that. Some of this artwork you may recognize from packages I've received on my channel, and some more Mysterio prints, and more Stranger Things prints. Here's some more art that's actually mine. We got a couple of my digital pieces printed out, and some more art from other people, and more Spider-Man. Here's another Barnes & Noble exclusive thing that I've gotten. This is a Wings of Fire poster from one of the books. I'm a Wings of Fire fan, but I stopped reading at this book, so I don't really know what the new lore is with the new dragons. And here's what the rest of the top of this space looks like. And I also have these acrylic keychains right here. These are probably some of my favorite things in my room, and I just love the way that they hang over the wall here. I've got some Baldur's Gate and Spider-Verse ones. So all of that is basically basically right above my closet, and I did not show you my closet in my last room tour, so I will show it to you this time. It's organized, but it's still a mess. You can see I have a lot of boxes in here, mostly Funko boxes, but I have some boxes from other figures as well, and there's also a few LPS sets in here. And then here's my clothes, if you were at all curious as to what my wardrobe looks like, and then just towers of boxes into the darkness. In the center of my closet, I have this little divider with some shelves. It's honestly very inconvenient to access with the doors in the way, but these house my Calico Critter buildings and just some other things. You can see there's some other LPS things in here as well, and you can see them a little bit better from the other side here. But here's the other side. Again, more boxes and some LPS houses, and this side is honestly a mess. But here is my largest Calico Critter house, and in this crate underneath are the majority of my Calico Critter accessories, and honestly, I don't even know what's in this bottom crate. Alright, so after the closet, continuing over to this wall space, I have my little Simpsons collection. Of course, we've got to have some Futurama stuff over here. I love The Simpsons. It's one of the shows that I grew up with, so it's pretty important to me, and you can see by how many things I have from it, I really like it. But Futurama is definitely one of my favorite shows. There's just not enough merch for it out there. And then continuing down, we have my Voltron Funko Pops. There's a lot of old books here as well. I have a couple like FNAF minifigures and just other random knickknacks here. And then here is a little mini dedication to Pennywise. You'll see I have a bigger It section later on. Here's a ceramics piece that I made in high school, and just some other little fun characters. And you can see more little knickknacks and things here, along with this little tower of plushies. And this whole space is basically a wall of empty Funko Pop boxes. As you can see, most of mine are stored in my closet, but I've also decided to display some here. I'm mostly an out-of-box collector, but I keep every single box, and I really like the way that the boxes look when you display them as well. But here is some more Voltron stuff, and like Gundams and Robotech, more Simpsons, and I have a little mini Back to the Future shrine as well. But of course, we also gotta have Jaws. And behind the Simpsons section, I realized you can't even see it anymore. There's a big Spider-Verse poster that's pretty cool. Now it's totally covered up, but next to that is my favorite poster, which is the UFO I Want to Believe X-Files poster, but it's also getting kind of covered up at this point. Going down lower on this shelf, this is, I guess, sort of like an 80s themed kind of thing with the way that this transitions down here, and then the rest of it is just more Simpsons things. And then going back up here, I have some Dungeons and Dragons things along with my Hellboy Funko Pops. Here's another sculpture that I made. It's not a ceramic sculpture, it's just made of clay. Yeah, it's kind of hard to like show you guys everything in my room just because there's so much and I'm not really sure the best way to go about it. But honestly, for a long time, this area was super boring to me, but I honestly love the way that it looks right now, even though it's kind of a hot mess, especially from far away. Right below that, I have this, which is kind of like a new, also temporary setup. So this is not normally here, but I figured I would just film it while it's up. So this is the set for the series that I'm working on. I've already filmed a couple other sets up on this space. Basically, one side I have grass and the other side is sand, so I can just flip it over. I basically just have to rearrange all the set pieces. But this is the part that I am currently working on, so here is a little sneak peek of that. I'm really happy with the way that it's going so far, so hopefully it turns out well. And here is my fancy camera. Wow, look at that. And below this is where I'm currently storing all of my camera equipment, so all of these bags have like cameras and lights and stuff in them. Honestly, with this setup, it kind of just makes it look a little bit more organized because normally this stuff is honestly just thrown over in the corner. But then above that, this is my bed actually. It's a lofted bed, so it is a desk and bed combined. This black part right here is actually kind of like a closet or organization space, but obviously it is inaccessible right now, and it's kind of just the spot where I throw everything that I don't want to be seen, so we're not going to look at it anyways. But I do have some Horror Nights posters here. You can kind of see them peeking through, but the other one is mostly covered up. So now you actually get to see what my bed looks like. So bed up there and desk down here. I'll start off with the bed. Here is the ladder. Again, these are all from calendars, and I thought that this would be a cool place to put them. And I also have this Slowpoke washi tape that I put on there, and this was given to me by my friend Rosie. So let's go up in the bed. So here's my bed. It is crammed with plushies, most of which have just been given to me, so I kind of keep them all up here. And you can see that Slowpoke is my favorite Pokemon because I have a lot of plushies of him. And this little blanket pile here is literally for my cat. This is where she likes to sleep. So you can get a better view of some of the things that are up here on my wall now. And here is the poster that I got when I saw Across the Spider-Verse. So I got this for free at a theater, like most of my movie posters, and such an awesome poster. I'm so happy that I have this. And I've got a Dungeons & Dragons Nerf gun because I think that it's pretty sick, honestly. And here are some LPS photos that were given to me. And here are the rest of my FNAF figures. I'm not like a huge FNAF fan anymore, but obviously I still do love all the versions of Foxy, and I am definitely a Security Breach fan, so I'm trying to get more of these mystery minis. And we've even got the Riddler with his pride flag. And then over here, I have some more Funko Pops and other figures. Again, these are ones that I love having in my collection, but they just don't really fit anywhere else in my room, so I keep them up here. And above that is like another little knick-knack trinket shelf with just a bunch of little things that I like that don't really fit anywhere else in my room. And of course, more Stranger Things posters over here. These ones are actually framed. You'll notice some of the posters in my room are framed, most of them aren't. The ones that are framed are like the original ones that I've had up for a long time. I have these smaller Spider-Verse posters up top as well, and I have more of them that continue down here, and these are all from like DVDs that I've gotten. And I've got some other plushies, a Simpsons gumball machine, some books that I'm reading, as well as a notebook for when I have ideas when I'm falling to sleep and I just want to, you know, wake up and jot them down. And right here is my childhood stuffed animal. He just kind of sits back there. And of course, I have even more posters up here, and this is probably the best way that you'll get a view of them, but there are even more posters going across my room. Like I said, I just wanted to cover every single inch of wall space, and already I think it's pretty clear that I have definitely done that. Alright, so that is my bed. Now time to take a look at my desk down here. This is where I do most of my work because it's where my computer is and where all of my customizing stuff is. So again, I'll start lower down. Here is a bucket. I guess it's not a bucket, but here is a little pile of a lot of LPS bases. These are all of my cats and dog bases, and this is actually a drawer for this shelf, but it kind of overflowed, so I had to take this one out and just put it on the floor because this one is overflowing and the one below it is overflowing. But in the second one, these are all miscellaneous animals, so every single animal that's not a cat or a dog, and the final drawer is literally just dedicated to heads and bodies. So if you want to commission me, you can see I have a lot of bases that I need to use up, and my commissions are open over on my Etsy. But anyways, down here, just a lot of books and honestly clutter. But in this Spider-Man lunchbox are all of my stickers. And then again, some more Funko Pops here and more notebooks. And right here are all of my sketchbooks. All of these ones are completed sketchbooks, except for this white one down here. That one's been unused. But I have some other figures, a lot of my favorite figures here, and some business cards. There's also business cards on the other side. And same with the top, so some other figures and other Funko Pops. You can see I have also covered every square inch of my desk with bangs. I even have a bulletin board that's absolutely covered. And right here are some of my art supplies. So these are my highlighters and markers and pens. Nothing super fancy here. And then all of these back here are my Copic marker refills. I have a whole collection of Copic markers, but I haven't really used them much because a lot of them are out of ink. And unfortunately, I don't have refills for the ones that I actually need. But here are my paint brushes. And in this jar with the scissors are my sculpting supplies. I mainly just use this silicone tool right here, and back here there's even more markers and things like that. And this lamp is really nice. I have it pointed up so that the light kind of like bounces off the space and hits down here, but those little buckets back there are connected to the lamp, and it also has a charger in it, as you can see, which is connected to my phone. Look at how freaking awesome my phone case is. And then over here I have this wooden shelf thing, which is a very recent addition to my desk, and I just built this to add more space. And I also have this other shelf that I built to house all of the customs that I bought in from other artists. So first up right here, these are some of my customs that are a work in progress. All of these are commissions, so if you see your custom right here, it will be finished soon. This one is actually finished already, so it will definitely be shipped out by the time this video is up. But back here are a couple of customs from other people, along with more little slow pokes, some more customs from other people, and this is where pretty much the bulk of the customs are, along with my shark collection. But yeah, you can get a little overview of all of the customs that I've received. Pretty much all of these are shown in unboxing videos here on my channel, but I think someday it would be really fun to dedicate a video to showing off all of them and supporting all these artists once again. But I love them so much, and the reason why I have them all over my desk is because it really inspires me with my own work. And here's my little collection of Spider-Gwen customs, along with my favorite Funko Pop, just a little Spider-Gwen area, I guess, and even more customs. Here's a little look at this area one more time. It's a little blown out from the light, but again, it's just a lot of my favorite things: keychains, stickers, posters, things like that. Underneath the wooden shelf, there's not really too much. It's just kind of like storage for unfinished projects and paint. And then I have this pile of semi-work in progress customs that I don't really know when I'll finish. But over here is the organizer where I keep all of my customizing supplies aside from paintbrushes. You can see on top there's even more markers and like work in progress things. A lot of these are personal projects, most of which aren't even LPS. We'll see how long it takes me to finish those, man. It's gonna be a while. This top drawer is incredibly unorganized, but it's like clay and glitter and things like that. And in here is most of my paint. These are all of the Model Color paint brands. It's a brand of model paint, obviously, that I really like. And then below that is the rest of my paint, which is all Americana. So this is a really great affordable brand that you can find pretty much anywhere. And then next to that, I have more little stickers and things like that. Here's my calendar, and everything else that's stuck here is business cards that I've gotten from people. My desk also has drawers, but I will not be going through these because these are absolutely not organized whatsoever. But again, there are even more stickers. Honestly, these are just like random stickers and things, but it looks cool. So then over here are my windows with some more little things displayed in front of them. This lunchbox has all of my patches on them, which I still have yet to use. And there's a lot of like rocks and things over here. In front of my window, I have this bench, and underneath is a lot of my packing supplies. So in here are all of my customs that are ready to go and ready to be shipped. I have my little cards and things like that on top of there, and down below are my boxes and packages, and here is my laminator. Next up is the section that I'm sure a lot of you guys have been waiting for, and that is my LPS corner. And this is just a dresser, so I'm not going to open any of these drawers. Again, it's mostly very unorganized, but there's also a lot of clothes in here. I will just show you one drawer, which is this one, so you can kind of see the mess we're working with, but you know, there's LPS props and things like that in here. And then here is my collection. I'll start off on the top. I finally found out an organization method that I like for this area, and these are kind of all of my favorite LPS up here. Here's my little ambassador certificate and some other, you know, LPS things. Here's some of my nibs hanging up, and here's some other posters that you haven't really seen yet. And then down below on the second shelf, these are not all of my LPS, obviously, but these are like the rest of the ones that I think are worthy of display. And here are my Comic-Con dragons back there. And then down here are my little beast plushies, and there's some more LPS in here. It's mostly mini LPS, and then the top drawer is actually like little pieces of action figures. So there's like cans and stuff in there. Here are some other new in-box LPS, and then here's the first look at some of my own customs. So I've basically just chosen to put customs that I've made that are not my original designs or not my original characters, and these are all like characters from movies and shows and games and things like that. And up top I have my Luca Funko Pops because I love them so much. And then down below we have the start of my G7 collection. So you can see the Petfluencers are back there. They're kind of getting covered up. And here are all of the rest of my G7 pets so far, all lined up. And in here I have all of the blind box pets for wave 1 and wave 2. And you may have also noticed that I have my certificate from Daisy just sitting here because I really do not know where to put it in my room. So if you guys have any ideas, let me know. And then here is an organizer for all of my little mini LPS accessories. So in here is like all of the food and stuff. This one has collars in it. This one is like all of my weapons. There's even a Minecraft sword in there. And then of course, on top of that, we have the Cobalt shrine, and there is Cobalt in his little spot. But yeah, a lot of these are like my favorite things or gifts that people have given me, all displayed here. And then of course, all of the customs of Cobalt and everything that looks like Cobalt is just kind of chilling here as well. And here is the old custom of him. This is actually my brother's mascot. Here's Cobalt, and then here's a custom that I made of myself. And then if we zoom back out, you can see all of the fan art that I've gotten from people. It is all taped up here. Some of it's getting kind of covered up, so if your art is being covered, I am so sorry. But I wanted to fit all of them here as best I could, and I just think that this looks so cool, and it's easily one of my favorite parts in my room. And then on like the ceiling part here and on the rest of the wall are all of the letters, and obviously there's some more fan art here too. But I love all of this so much, so if you guys have sent me any of these things, thank you so much. And then right above that is this big poster, which I actually made. I made this for me and my friends a couple of years ago for our Minecraft server, but I think it looks pretty sick, and my friend Julian actually ended up getting them printed out for us, which is really cool. Here are some more box art pieces and another LPS nib. some LPS stickers, and some more posters. This is another one of my all-time favorite posters, and it is for Spider-Verse, obviously. And now over here we begin the Stranger Things collection, because if you couldn't already tell, I'm absolutely obsessed with Stranger Things. But before we go up there, let's look down here first. So down here is where I film pretty much all of my videos. It is filmed in front of this really awesome Godzilla poster from one of my favorite artists. Obviously, I got this framed with the intention of hanging it up, but I never just decided where I wanted to hang it, so I ended up putting it here, and I really like the way that it looks as a backdrop. And here is my Cobalt crochet plushie that I got from a really talented person, along with, you know, some more Funko Pops, obviously, and some more LPS. Down here, we have more unorganized drawers, so I will only show you inside one of them, but this is the rest of my LPS collection, so unfortunately, they all just have to suffer in this drawer, but they're okay, don't worry about them. Here are some of my comic book Funko Pops right here, which are pretty cool. And then one of my favorite movies of all time. It literally just came out on DVD, so I got the really awesome A24 collector's edition. So happy about that. And here are the rest of my customs. So you can see them all here. This little like house-shaped shelf was supposed to be kind of an advent calendar thing, so the numbers have absolutely no relation to the customs, but I just couldn't be bothered to remove them with acetone or anything. So you can see all my customs here. And then I actually have Beastars books. Wow, look at that. And some more empty Funko Pop boxes that are sort of acting as a shelf, and my passes from LPS Con here, both the years that I've gone, and my little LPS Cobalt sign that's been in my room for a very long time. And here's another art piece that I actually drew, and it's actually inspired by the artist who drew this Godzilla picture. Here is the softbox light that I use for my video, so I just have it propped up here so that the light shines down on my filming area. And now we can take a look at the Stranger Things area. So this shelf up here is pretty much dedicated just to Demogorgons, or all of the monsters from the Upside Down. So we got Demogorgons, Demodogs, Vecna, Demobats. I love this area so much, it makes me so happy, and I think that it's just so cool. But of course we have another poster here in the background, which is basically totally covered up at this point. And down below that are some of my miscellaneous Stranger Things merchandise and figures. Pretty much everything else in my collection is Funko Pops, but these are sort of just all of the random things, along with a bunch of memorabilia that I've gotten at the Stranger Things experience and other events like that. Here are more of them down here. I even have a Stranger Things Nerf gun right there. But let's zoom out once again, and this is pretty much all Funko Pops right here. Obviously there's a bunch of other things, but it's mostly Funko Pops. So we got all of the classic season 1 characters, even though Max is from season 2. She belongs here with the others. And then behind that, I think it's season 4. Yeah, this is all season 4 Pops. Got a couple in box. Here are my Stranger Things customs, actually. I decided that they belong in the shrine as well. And then some miscellaneous characters back here, mostly from season 3, a couple from season 4. Here are all of my Blacklight Stranger Things Pops. I love the Blacklight Funko Pops so much, I think they're so cool. I even have a signed Funko Pop that I got off eBay, which is pretty sick. And then these are all of my double, like, 2-pair Funko Pops. And yeah, this is kind of an awkward angle to show off this space, but it's pretty tall because I have a very high ceiling in my room. But yeah, I just love this area so much. I think it looks so cool. Again, it's literally a hot mess, but it is organized and it works, you know? So down below that, I have this other, I guess it's a bookshelf, but it is once again dedicated to collectibles. So starting off over here, we have something else that is very unbrand for me. This is my Krampus shrine. Here's more of my LPS customs. You can see all of my Krampus customs. If you don't know, I make a Krampus custom every single year to showcase my improvement. Here's another little thing that I made. It's like a Krampus art doll, and then the rest is just other Krampus memorabilia and merchandise that I've gotten, along with the DVD right there. And then next to that is another little area dedicated to the Adventure Zone. If you don't remember from the beginning of the video, the Adventure Zone is a Dungeons & Dragons podcast. These are the customs that I've made of the main characters, my own designs for them, and here are the graphic novels that I spoke of as well. I also have just a lot of dice sets that I really like here, because I play Dungeons & Dragons as well, so I thought the coolest dice should be there, and these ones are actually special Adventure Zone dice, as well as some keychains and this ceramic piece that I made inspired by the podcast. And here is one more custom up there. If you're wondering why there is Garfield in this shrine as well, you just have to listen to the podcast and then you'll understand. Next up down the line is my collection of comics. I mean, technically these are the graphic novel reprints, but I prefer collecting these just because I can, you know, be rough with them. So I obviously have a lot of Venom ones here. There's some other things as well. And then I've also decorated this with random figures. Some of my favorite figures, actually. I'm very bad at posing figures, so I don't really know what to do with these guys half the time. And then over here, we have yet another dedication of my room to Spider-Verse. So most of these are figures and toys from across the Spider-Verse because they came out with so much merch after that movie, and it all looks amazing. So lots of Funko Pops and figures here, and I really like this area of my room, especially with all the colors, just because the box art looks so amazing. Look at that, you guys. And then here is the other little It and Pennywise area that I mentioned. So I have Funko Pops of all of the characters, and here are the rest of my Pennywise Funko Pops up here. And then next to that in the smaller shelf are a bunch of my DVDs for different movies. You can see the Spider-Verse DVDs right there, and some other Funko Pops that I guess are like movie or show characters. I just thought that this was kind of a good place to put them. And I have the hand from Talk to Me. I really need to get this movie on DVD because I love it so much. Was this a very impulsive purchase? Yes. But was it worth it? Yes, it was. And then finally at the bottom, we have my Wings of Fire books. So if you guys are Wings of Fire fans, sound off in the comments. But yeah, this was the last Wings of Fire book that I read, so that's really up to the point that I know, but I figured I needed to stop at some point because it seems like the books are just going to go on forever like they do with Warrior Cats. But this has also kind of become the dragon shelf, so I have a lot of little dragon figures here, and all of the rest of my dice, as you can see. And then next to that is a bunch of art books that I have. I also have to mention behind this stuff is a book series called Talon, which is also about dragons. It's one of my favorite book series of all time, and it's actually where I got the name Cobalt from. But finally, we actually have some more books in this bookshelf, and this is my current favorite book series, which is called Odd Thomas. So I have all the books here, and these are actually all signed by the author, which is really cool, and it's just a really awesome piece of my collection. These two books are by him as well, but they're separate from the series. I have not read this one on top, but I have read the second one on the bottom, and it's such a good book as well, so highly recommend. Down below is just some random storage items, and over here are, again, more books that don't really fit anywhere else, so they're just under this bench. And here's my backpack, so you can see all of the pins that I have if you are interested in things like that. Obviously, I really like decorating all the stuff that I have, so my backpack is no exception to that. Finally, here are some more posters, most of which again are free movie posters that I've gotten from different movies that I've seen. They honestly fit really well here, and again, more Spider-Verse stuff. Now we have finally reached the last section of my room, which as you can see is mostly Marvel stuff and the bulk of my Funko Pop collection. So let's start off at the top once again. On the very top, we have my Legos, mostly Simpsons Legos, but there's a couple other extra things there as well. And I have another Lego set down here, which is of course the Stranger Things Lego set. This whole shelf actually used to be Legos as well, but I opted to make it another continuation of my Stranger Things section because I got so much Stranger Things stuff this summer. And finally, the last shelf is another hot mess. There's just a lot of figures that don't really belong together, but they are some of my favorite figures, so in that sense it works out. But I wish I had another shelf because I'm sad that a lot of these things kind of get covered up. And then here is my collector's edition of the Spider-Verse movies. So yeah, I have both movies on DVD multiple times. Here's the top corner once again with the rest of my inbox Funko Pops, most of which are more of the Blacklight series because I just think that they're really cool and I like them a lot. And these are just in general some of my rarer pops, I'd say, so that's why I've chosen just to keep them in the box here. And I even have some Star Wars ones down here, so this is sort of like a little mini Star Wars section. I've got a lot of Mandalorian Funko Pops, and look at that, here are even more of my customs. I have Anakin and Cobb Vanth and the Mandalorian right there. Before I continue down, I have this little hook for jackets and things like that. This Spider-Gwen head, I feel like I have to clarify, this is actually a popcorn bucket that I also got when I saw Across the Spider-Verse. It's kind of stupid, but I think it's cool. And there's just more random Funko Pops here, but here is my little section of Funko Pops from the boys. And then down here, this is a lot more organized. These are all of my Venomized Funko Pops here on the bottom, and above that are all of my Marvel Zombies Pops, along with Doppelganger, but he kind of fits in. And then underneath that, we got Spider-Man. So down here are a bunch of Spider-Man Funko Pops, as you can see. This right here is Black Cat. She's obviously not a Spider-Man, but she is a Spider-Man character, so I just decided to put her next to Gwen. And then these are all, I guess, like pops from the movies. And then finally on the last shelf, it is actually mostly Loki Funko Pops. I did not think that I had this many Loki Pops, but there's a lot of really cool ones. And then the rest is just more miscellaneous Marvel characters that I put here, and some mystery minis and some mini Funko Pops. And now we have once again reached the door, so let's get one more final overview where you can really see my room in full scale. Again, I'm very lucky to have such a big space where I can display all of the things that I like to collect, and where I actually have a lot of space to work and film videos. And there you have it, guys. That is my room. Rest in peace. Some of my stuff is still there, but most of it has been moved. And I really like my new space as well, so I'm excited about eventually showing that to you guys too, but there's still a couple other things I want to do with it before I would want to show it to anybody. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Obviously, you can really see a lot of the stuff that I like based on my room tour with all, you know, my different fandoms and the things that I collect. So if we have any similarities, definitely let me know down below in the comments and tell me what your guys' bedrooms look like. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in my next one. Bye!